The following images were taken on November 19, 2007, the same day the Surface Transportation Board restored Pioneer Industrial Railway's operating rights on the Kellar Branch. Predictably, trail supporters were angry at the turn of events. One city councilman even suggested, quote, possibly doing a Meigsfield operation, there one day and gone the next, unquote. The councilman was referring to Chicago Mayor Richard Daley's infamous overnight operation in 2003 to destroy Chicago Meigsfield's runway. Following severe public and likely private rebuke, there were no further suggestions that the Kellar Branch be destroyed in an illegal manner. The board's decision left Central Illinois Railroad's operating rights intact, which introduced unnecessary complexity to the situation. Events deteriorated quickly after that railroad's officials refused Pioneer's attempts to make contact. The situation became heated the morning of December 5, 2007, when officials of both carriers attempted to high-rail the line at about the same time, leading to a confrontation. As a result, the Surface Transportation Board threatened to intervene if the two carriers failed to coordinate their joint usage of the line by December 14th. If an agreement was not in place by that date, the board would impose one of its own. Cooler heads prevailed, and CIRY and Pioneer made peace. With an operating protocol in place, Pioneer Industrial Railway sent GP20 number 2032 to the line to await resumption of revenue shipments to Carver Lumber Company. On the morning of January 18, 2008, after CIRY's crew moved a load of steel beams, shown here, the Pioneer crew ran up the branch line, engine light. Some trail proponents began showing a conciliatory side, at least in public. On January 22nd, mayors of Peoria and Peoria Heights appointed a 7-member rail trail committee to consider the financial feasibility of joint use, with a trail running alongside the Kellar Branch. Their findings were due April 1st. The next day, however, the more militant trail proponents held a news conference to keep their agenda going. The event attracted mayors and other elected officials, as well as letters of support from primary candidates for the 18th Congressional District. Promises of $40 million in commercial development only awaited the removal of the tracks. And in a fine example of the high quality of railroad expertise available among trail supporters, a former Peoria Journal-Star reporter covering the event wrote on her blog, quote, one of the railroads fighting for use of the line recently ran an engine over the tracks, reportedly waiting until the ground was frozen solid so the rails would stand up to the use, unquote. After having its operating rights restored, Pioneer handled its first revenue carload for Carver Lumber on January 26, 2008. Pioneer's long efforts to restore its operating rights on the Kellar Branch were likely emphasizing principle over economics. This was because Carver Lumber remained the only active and interested rail user at Pioneer Industrial Park, and Central Illinois Railroad Company was serving O'Brien Steel on the south end of the line. Railcar storage was the only other source of revenue for either carrier. Nevertheless, at the time of these scenes, it appeared the line was poised to attract one new business. In 2006, Globe Energy Ecosystem LLC acquired the former Gateway Milling Company warehouse in Pioneer Park. The British firm provided efficient heating systems for industrial users, and its owners decided to relocate to Peoria. In a June 2007 interview on a local radio program, Globe Energy's CEO stated that his firm was interested in using rail service. Then, just days after the STB decision restoring Pioneer's operating rights on the Kellar Branch, Globe Energy confirmed its interest. Sharon Deckard, president of the Illinois Prairie Railroad Foundation, and your narrator, toured Globe Energy's facility on April 9, 2008. The CEO showed us his firm's expansion plans, including purchase of adjacent properties and facilities for rail delivery of coiled steel. Unfortunately, the economy and other issues sunk Globe Energy's plans, and the company closed its local operation after just a few years. What's this? PREX 2032 pulling an Indiana and Ohio Railway SW 1500 up the Kellar Branch? The Illinois Prairie Railroad Foundation organized a Peoria Railroad Fair free to the public at Barracks Cater Inn on Pioneer Parkway Saturday, September 20th and Sunday, September 21st, 2008. The fair was intended to raise the importance of rail transportation to the area economy, but crowds were sparse due to the lack of requested publicity from local media. The only incident occurred when a couple driving a station wagon made a circle in Barracks' parking lot and yelled, "Build the trail now! Build the trail now!" before speeding away. Obnoxiousness from trail proponents aside, the event was a lot of fun, with PREX 2032 and IORY 1501, which was then assigned to the TPNW, put on display. Dave Stromer brought his speeder, and children could have their faces painted if they so desired. The Central Illinois Railroad made a rare move on April 16, 2009. Reportedly due to a routing error, a number of storage cars were sent through the Tazewell and Peoria Railroad interchange rather than the preferred Union Pacific connection at Pioneer Junction. CIRY 1202 and CIRY 1207 are shown leading 8 empty liquefied petroleum gas tank cars at glacial speed through Peoria Heights on that warm spring morning. The aforementioned 7-member Rail Trail Committee appointed by the mayors of Peoria and Peoria Heights missed the April 1, 2008 deadline to release its findings, but not by much. In a short while, the city of Peoria hired a consulting firm to study joint use of the Kellar Branch right-of-way. The Peoria Park District, which would manage the trail, claimed a $29 million price for joint use. But in October 2008, the consultant, Pkwy International, determined that the price for a joint rail trail would be just $18 million. The cost could be reduced further if the Park District gave up its demand for a pedestrian bridge over North Knoxville Avenue. Even then, the price was likely bloated. In a logical world, a multi-million-dollar price tag to construct a non-essential recreational trail would have been a sufficient deterrent to further pursuit of the issue. But no, trail proponents wouldn't hear of it. They had to have their trail, and the Kellar Branch had to go. And there was a plan already in the works to make this happen. On April 20th, 2009, I shot my last scenes at Pioneer Industrial Railway's hill job running up the Kellar Branch. When Pioneer fought for restoration of its operating rights, it estimated that Carver lumber would average 1 carload per week. But this was not to be. Carver continued to transload at the Tazewell and Peoria Railroad's Creve Coeur Freight House and Team Track facilities, receiving only an occasional carload at its Pioneer Park lumber yard. The national economy entered a recession in December 2007. A decade-long housing bubble had ended, thus construction starts declined. The situation worsened in the fall of 2008 as a banking crisis developed. Carver lumber would not be getting 50 carloads a year. Actually, 10 would be a stretch. With little revenue business, both Central Illinois Railroad Company and Pioneer Industrial Railway agreed to a plan developed by the Kellar Branch Corridor Corporation, which was created in October 2008. The potential deal became public in July 2009, just prior to a vote by the Peoria City Council. With the corporation's plan endorsed by all parties, CIRY and Pioneer petitioned the Surface Transportation Board December 29, 2009 to discontinue service on nearly 6 miles of the Kellar Branch from Pioneer Parkway south to Park Avenue. The plan called for Pioneer relinquishing its lease with the city of Peoria in exchange for local trackage rights granted by CIRY to provide competitive rail service to customers on both the remaining northern and southern segments. Pioneer would be able to interchange with Union Pacific via the western connection for the first time. The board approved the petition on April 16, 2010. Freeing the cities to remove the track for a recreational trail. Soon after, it was learned that the Peoria Park District paid $1.25 million in taxpayers' funds to buy out the railroad's interests, and the city gave the railroad right-of-way to the Park District for just $1. The city of Peoria wasted no time hiring a contractor to remove the discontinued sections of the Kellar Branch. I recorded these views in late summer 2010. An interesting turn of events made Pioneer sole operator of the remaining 2 segments. Due to reported financial losses, Central Illinois Railroad Company ended its lease on 2 segments of BNSF-owned trackage in the Chicago area on August 9, 2010. The Peoria operation apparently ceased at the same time, and the defunct company's assets were offered for sale. After a long, hard-fought battle, trail proponents had won. Construction on the Rock Island Greenway would commence shortly. Ironically, the city of Peoria possessed a legally active, but in reality unused, railroad. Since CIRY ceased operations, O'Brien Steel has refused to do business with Pioneer. Rates via the Union Pacific connection at Pioneer Junction remain uncompetitive, so Carver Lumber continues other transportation arrangements. By the end of 2011, all equipment had been removed from the line. 5 years later, however, it looked like the Pioneer Industrial Railway might return to life. On November 17, 2016, Union Pacific delivered PREX 3069, shown here, to Pioneer Junction. Soon after, a Pioneer crew moved the unit to a spot just north of Pioneer Parkway. Pioneer properties were running short on space for railcar storage, and Pioneer Park offered an opportunity for this important source of revenue. But just as PREX 3069 arrived, the storage car market declined. As of May 2018, PREX 3069 sits at Pioneer Park.